that song?
We had a theme song written for the whole movie and everything.
Wow, everybody. Blobfest weekend. All right. What'd you guys think? Those are a lot of fun, right? Yes. Which is the film, all of your films except for Danny Johnson Saves the World at Home, which is the film that has the scare shield for over my eyes?
That would be House of Ghosts.
House of Ghosts, okay. Your William Castle
yes.
Scare shield. So before we go to audience questions, I'm wondering if anybody can shout out any of the other film connections that they noticed in this film.
Time Bandits.
Time
Yes.
Bandits. Nice, Mr. Lobo. Nice.
Return what you have stolen from me. That's exactly right.
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
As always.
Every one of my movies has a Ghostbusters line in it somewhere. So.
Got some Star Wars early on.
Oh, of course. Come on.
That's a requirement.
Oh, 2001.
Well, yeah, it's a space movie. Come on.
I mean, if you notice, you guys said, I can't let you do that.
Yes, you got it.
So, first I want to talk about what we saw at the very end, the alien stop motion alien itself, and
Yes.
then also the monster that picks him up.
Right, and that's actually why we brought this guy up here. This is Mitch Gonzalez. He is what we call the master monster maker for the Mihmiverse. Say that 10 times fast. He's the guy who makes all of our latex stuff. Now, starting with the stop motion was actually, the stop motion is one of those old techniques that they don't do enough of anymore. And with every movie, we try to do something new. And this was the first time we did stop motion in a movie, and the reason we were able to do it, none of us knows how, especially to do it well, and you saw there, it's really good. I was contacted by a guy in Australia who had saw one of our films on Australian TV of all weird places, thanks to Nigel Honeybourne, who is Mr. Lobo knows him.
Soon to be on the West Side 74.
See, all right, I was and he just contacted me and said, I do stop motion. If you ever want to throw some in one of your movies, I'd love to help. Turns out the guy is an Australian equivalent Oscar winner who just, he doesn't get a lot of work as a stop motion animator. And so he's just like, I'd love to help out in any way we could. And of course, as soon as he said that, I was like, I'm putting you in my movies somewhere.
Not just one monster, two monsters.
Two monsters, and then he shows up in Danny Johnson Saves the World, doing other stuff too. So it was really an interesting experience working sort of across I'm from Minnesota, working in Minnesota and then a guy in Sydney. It was weirdly flawless how quickly it was. We shot everything we needed, and then I said, well, here's what you have to work with, make it work. And he just made it work. And it's really cool. Now the monsters, I'm gonna turn over to Mitch. Why don't you?
Sure. So Mitch, I want to talk about the first half with the alien monster. Can you talk about some of the articulates on the face and how you came about going with the sort of the way that it leaches from people's foreheads like that? So what was the genesis of that?
Well, we decided to just not have a static monster. We wanted to do something. So we wanted to figure out what would be the best thing. And since it's absorbing these crew members, we decided to have this little proboscis tongue type thing come out, attach it, and that's what we kind of came up with. So what we did was we filmed in reverse. We stuck it onto the forehead. I kind of was off camera jiggling it, pulled it off, and then we just reversed it so it looks like it's shooting out onto the guy's forehead. So
You guys did a really good job with the reverse, because did you guys notice that it was a reverse shot? I didn't realize it at all, so great job there.
old school trickery. I mean, that's what we wanted to do with these movies. Oh yeah.
No tailpipe smoke like in the Blob, the reverse driving.
Yes.
Right.
Did I just spoil that for anybody?
Look
For
for that
backwards
now.
driving scene, filmed in reverse.
Well, on top of that, one of the things, the way we did that is we're using like surgical tubing or something for the little thing. But also, I just want to say this about the monster, and this is why it was so perfect that this movie ended up this weekend, because we were also showing This Island Earth. Was one of the things when Mitch and I, when we start working on a new movie and we decide on a monster, a lot of times Mitch and I sort of go back and forth on what it should look like and what it is. He'll send me these sketches, and then we'll sort of go back and forth. And on this one in particular, that monster, we're like, well, give it a touch of the Metaluna mutant. That was, and if you see it in color, it's blue. It's blue, and it's got red, and it's the same color scheme and something similar. So that was a nice,
Mitch was telling me earlier that all the monsters are played by your stepson.
That is true.
And he begs for a comfortable application or P prosthesis that isn't too bad.
And he never gets it.
Never gets it.
Never. Actually, he started doing this when I made the Monster of Fenn Lake, which was the first film back in 2005. He was 16 years old, just like sort of a nerdy kid with braces. And that's one of the favorite things at the end of that movie is you show him with the head off, and he's just like this nerdy kid with glasses and braces. And he does a great job. He's the shyest kid you'd ever meet. But you throw him in one of those monster costumes, and suddenly he's a ladies' man. It's really strange, and he's very good at it. Yes.
So the Mihmverse dating tips are put on a monster mask.
Put on a monster mask.
Find the ladies.
Hide who you are, and then we were at an event somewhere, and he was wearing one of the costumes, or he wasn't. He was just kind of sitting off to the side. He put on the costume, and suddenly all these girls come up and want pictures, and he's just like, "Hey, how's it going? All right." He takes it off and. Don't look at me. Don't look at me.
So 2 years ago when you were here last, we showed the giant spider.
Yes.
Aside from same actors in the film, like Mark Hader, I just saw him.
He's out there by the table.
Yeah, at the merch table. There's a connection to that film in this film.
There is. Which one?
There totally is. He's reading.
That's right. He's reading it. Sorry, they all connect in some way, but sometimes the connections get lost after making so many. He's reading The Attack of the Giant Spider and the Tales of the Fantastic, which is, little stuff like that. All the films, and that's the thing, is you've seen them all, there's these weird little things that'll just connect things, right? We made the movie after this we made was Danny Johnson Saves the World, which goes back to the 50s, right? And the cast is almost all kids. One of the kids' name is Cassie, and she's playing a young version of the woman from X the Fiend from Beyond Space. So there's all these weird little things where you have these characters that cross over from film to film. So, and even I guess I can't believe I just missed that, but the Giant Spider also stars Mike Cook and Jim Norgard, who play those exact same characters from The Wall People, and yet I'm like, what connection? What are you talking about? They play Dr. Gabriel and Dr. Edwards.
I would watch them go get a ham sandwich. They're very funny together.
What the heck?
Right?
Yeah.
So can we take some audience questions? You guys have some questions?
And it's okay if you don't.
Go ahead, shout it out.
About how long did it take to make each of the films, from writing to production to post-production?
You know what's funny about that? So I made The Giant Spider, right? And that was my big budget film, which it was very intense to make. Because we were all over the place. We were shooting at drive-ins, we had classic cars, it was a big budget thing. So I thought, for the next movie, we'll do something smaller. We'll do 2 smaller films, and it'll be like less stress, because I'm only making smaller movies. The truth is, it doesn't work that way. You're still making 2 movies. So this one was kind of crazy to get done. Any one of the films, and this goes for this too, is I wrote these at the same time as one script, basically. And then we blocked off a chunk of time to do each one. And in my head, it was like, well, the running time is 90 minutes, so it'll be just like editing one film. But no, it's twice as many people, twice as many locations, twice as many props. So any one of our films, from beginning to end, probably takes 9 to 10 months, sometimes a little bit longer. We finish the film, and then we pretty much release it within a couple months, and then we start all over again. So the writing process, I write pretty fast, and I do that on purpose, and Mr. Lobo and I were talking about this a little bit, about old school authenticity of movies back then not having that much money or time to get stuff done. So I kind of purposely write quickly just so that it stays, I don't want it to be perfect. I mean, if I took all the time in the world, I would probably write, maybe be able to write a really, really, really great script that would be Oscar winning, but I don't want to. It's not about the patience for it. I'd rather just write something, get it down, start shooting and go. So about between 9 and 11 months from sort of concept to completion. Then there's a month where it's
sometimes there's some ideas that gestate for long periods of time, and we'll come up with a title or kind of a concept, and we'll kind of work it through it. And it might take a few movies to get through the process to actually become a movie, and sometimes they don't make it that far. So it all depends.
Yeah.
But usually, like you said, 9 to 10 months.
Once we start with it.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, like the giant spider idea, I I like to tell this story just because I think it's interesting. The Giant Spider was the 8th film I made, so it took 8 years. The first one was The Monster of Phantom Lake. After I finished The Giant Spider, I was in my office and I have posters and press clippings and stuff on the wall. And I was like, I haven't looked at this in a while. It was from The Monster of Phantom Lake, the first time it showed anywhere. Someone interviewed me, which was very exciting, right? And I'm reading through it, and I had to laugh because in there they said, what do you want to do next? And I said, I'd love to do a Giant Spider movie. Way back, like 8 years prior. So I mean, some of these ideas do just take forever. Or I'll mention something randomly, and of course these guys know if I'm not actually writing the script, it probably won't ever get made. It could go away for all we care. So I get excited about these ideas, and they're like, sure, we'll see.
Let me see the finished script.
Right, exactly. Show me the script.
Then I'll start.
Then you'll start working on it.
Questions? Yes, sir.
The pegboard spaceship, was that just one set over and over and over again, or did you?
Well, a lot of our films are shot in my basement,
It's not very big.
which is not very big. It looks bigger on screen. It is not very big. It's a big unfinished room, and actually, what I always tell people is like, at any time, if you were to do this, you'd see my furnace. It's just this big unfinished room, and the furnace is right there. We will construct these sets in one corner of this room, shoot everything, tear it down, build another one. We did that for several films, and it's been nothing but headaches, but it works. It's what we need. The only other problem too is the ceilings are only like 7.5 feet, so a lot of times you'll notice we don't shoot very low because you just see joists, and we just don't want to put in a ceiling. It's just too much.
Well, I think in this movie as well, in X the Fiend from Beyond Space, there was a set that was reversed, or you filmed it and then reversed the film,
Yeah.
printed everything backwards so that it looked like it was an opposite side of the ship, but it was still the same side, but we had to reverse it just so we don't have to tear it down and build the right side.
Right, the Star Trek corridor trick.
Right. Well, it's everything in Johnny Cash's room was reversed. We had to do all the signage backwards. We actually, each of them has like a thing over there, like a little insignia over their heart. We had to then reverse those and put them on the other side. And I mean, it was that or rebuild the entire set exactly the same, but the other way. And I was like, let's just not do that. And that day we shot that. You can't see it because we hit it very well, but Mark's not here, so I can throw him under the bus a little bit. At the time, my air conditioning was out, and it was like 90 degrees, 95 degrees in my basement, which you're like, what, you live in Minnesota? Yes, it does actually get hot there occasionally. It was really, really hot, so he was sweating like hell, right? And so every time you saw his back, it was just dark gray. And we made a point to just shoot around that because it looked terrible, but between every take, it was like,
So that's authentic sweat.
authentic, real sweat.
Adds to the
It was
authenticity.
really hot down there.
Other questions?
Way up there.
Do you intend any of your films to be scary to anyone, or do you just intend for them to be
3-year-olds. The question was, do I intend any of my movies to actually be scary to anyone? And the truth is, 3-year-olds, that's it. And that's actually the genesis of the Wall People. The idea of the Wall People comes from this weird fear I had as a kid because I saw an episode of The Greatest American Hero. Anyone remember that show?
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, there's an episode of The Greatest American Hero where for some reason he goes to some creepy house and he like walks through a wall and it's this weird dark space where he's attacked by a monster. When I was a kid, it scared the crap out of me for some reason. And so I had this irrational fear that I was going to, while sleeping, roll into the wall and be attacked by this monster.
So for a while you lived outdoors.
Right now. So I had like everything all just piled up against, like blankets and stuffed animals to make sure if I rolled, those things would save me. And so when I was thinking about making The Wall People, the name The Wall People came up weirdly organically when we were shooting our film Attack the Moon Zombies, because we had like a Star Trek sliding door that we created, and we did it all wrong, where we put it on like a pulley system that was a pain in the butt to like open. So you had to have a guy behind the wall at all times going, just like hand over hand. Yeah, hand over hand. And he started he was always just sitting in the back, no one could see him. And so when he'd get tired, he'd be like, the Wall People are tired. The wall people need a drink. And so I was like, I don't know what the wall people is, but I'm gonna make that. So that was that's where sort of it came from.
Is there B-roll footage? You put this in like outtakes on the next
I'm
disc?
sure, yeah, really. So I just thought wall people, and so my intention to answer that question with the wall people, because it scared me so much as a kid, was I want to scare kids. So I was like, what are scary things to kids? Witches and being abducted from your bed and things grabbing you in the middle of the night. So that was sort of the impetus. But,
Chest of pie plates? They scare
yeah,
kids.
yes. So, yeah.
Mr. Lobo.
Yeah, I mean, Chris, there's a lot of bad acting in your film.
What?
What I wanted to say is there's an art to bad acting. Obviously, we talked about authenticity of rushing through a movie, an old 50s B movie. It definitely, nobody wants to make a bad movie on purpose.
Right.
If you make a bad movie on purpose, how do you know if you got it right?
It's called Snakes on a Plane.
But at the same time, obviously there's qualities, there's standards, there's things you're looking for, things you're not looking for. Have you ever had to fire someone, fire an actor, this just isn't working?
So for if you couldn't hear him, the question was, have you ever had to fire an actor because it just wasn't
Well,
working?
here's the funny thing about the sort of bad acting, right? Is that most of these actors, when they first get involved in a film, a lot of them think I should be bad, I should be wooden, right? Because they're like, that's how they acted back then. I would say, don't do that, right? Give me the best thing you got. That's the best thing they got. And in all honesty, I keep some of these people around because they're trying really hard. And I like the fact that, and there's an authenticity with that, because they are trying really, really hard to give me really good performances, but the truth is they're maybe not the best actors in the world.
You've been a couple of the Blob fire chiefs.
Yes, actually the kid my stepson who plays all the monsters, he's a great monster actor, but he's a terrible, terrible actor. And he's the first person to say it. He's very monotone when he speaks sometimes, so it's like, run away. So I purposely sometimes give him lines because, and weirdly, he's got a weird little cult following now. He'll go places and he like starts, pulling the ladies, or they're just like, oh my God, it's Michael Kaiser! And they're just like, I love you so much. And of course he has no idea what to do with that.
Yes, we'll take a call for the next question. No? All right.
Let's
First time calling.
so to answer your question, I haven't really ever had to fire an actor.
Ooh, careful,
per
Mark's
se.
in the back of the audience now. You want to be careful.
Now that Mark's here, I won't talk
Oh, there he is. Hi,
about
Mark.
the acting qualities of anyone. No, I haven't had to fire an actor per se. And there are some of the actors who are quite good. I think the guy who played Barney Collins is actually a very good actor. And of course, they're stuck working with my scripts. So they're only so good because they do have to say the things I've written. The closest I came to, I guess the only time I actually sort of fired an actor was when he just didn't show up. And I just told him not to bother for anything beyond that, and I just replaced him. But that's it. Otherwise, everyone else has always come through when I needed them. But that was only just the one time, and that was actually recently, while we were making Where's Skeeto Nazi Hunter, which you can purchase credits at Where's Skeeto Nazi Hunter out there.
And touch the head of the Where's Skeeto.
And touch the Where's Skeeto.
Get your
And take a
photo
picture
taken.
taken with the Where's Skeeto. See? Yeah. Anything else? It's okay if you don't.
There was like one movie you could make. I know you said the giant spider was kind of like your big one, but there was like one thing you could really do. What would that be?
Well, see, I think this is along the lines of something Mr. Lober and I were talking about earlier, which is, what would you do with $5 million if someone gave it to you? And I said,
money aside.
I'd make 1,000 movies.
Money aside, just the idea.
If I were to make sort of the ideal movie, I don't know, honestly. Yeah, I mean, we're kind of making them. I mean, it's like from year to year, it's always like, we're always trying to do something different. I think we got to do a luchador movie at some point.
Have I missed it? Have you done a teens in trouble delinquent like on a rampage?
No, actually, we had a script we almost made called Reform School Girls versus the Space Monster.
I'm in.
That fell apart like 2 weeks before we were going to start shooting because I couldn't work out the scheduling of the actresses. And actually, it's funny you bring that up because that is what then turned into X the Fiend from Beyond Space. That was supposed to be the first half of the double feature. we had the monster, and that's the same monster that we just decided to use for X the Fiend from Beyond Space.
So can we then implore you to make a 1/2 Teens in Trouble, 1/2 Luchador wrestling film?
Yes!
Because
I figure once
I want you back in 2 years with this film.
All
ready
right,
to
so
go.
I figure
Is that-
once every 10 years, I have to make another double feature, right? So the next one will be the Sunday matinee or something like that, or the midnight creep show or something. Oh, the midnight spook show, right there. And so I figured that will have to be one of them. One of the things I was thinking about is just releasing some of these scripts I've written. I've written some scripts or like got halfway through and abandoned scripts. And I was thinking of just like releasing them so people can vote on which one I should finish or bury forever. There's a question over here.
Are you a product of Catholic school? Because I saw a picture of Jesus.
No, I am not. My wife is Catholic, however. Actually, the Jesus picture is a strange story how that ended up. When at one point, because my wife is Catholic, as a joke for one of her birthdays, I bought her nothing but stuff I found at a thrift store before giving her the real presents, right? And because she is so nice all the time, it was nice to see her try to act like, oh, this is really great. It's like, I know, you would love it. And one of them was this painting of Jesus. And she thought after she got the real presents, she then hung it up over my desk without telling me, so I just came down to my office and was like, and so it just sat there over my desk. Now my desk used to be in the unfinished area where we film everything. So when we made Terror from Beneath the Earth, we built a cave in that room, and I always tell this story too, which is like, I remember telling my wife, hey, for the next movie, I'm going to paper mache our basement into a cave. And she went, no, you were not. And I said, you're the lead. And she's like, let's do this. So we left the Jesus painting hanging up behind the walls. And so from that point forward, she's like, well, it's in that movie. It should be in every movie, right? Let's try and sneak it in as a running gag. So from now on, we called him Basement Jesus because he was always in the basement. Basement of Jesus appears somewhere in the film. And there's little things that actually appear in every film. One of which is people, for some dumb reason, turning flashlights on in their own face twice. It's like a thing to the point when we have premieres of our films, people cheer when that happens. And then you got the people who've never been there before, who are like, what the hell?
Is this so? The picture of Jesus is like the spoon painting in the room, where every time he comes by, the people cheer.
Yes. So Basement Jesus. The other thing is someone always gets slapped. Someone somewhere gets slapped in my films. In every film, someone gets slapped. So there's just little things that carry from movie to movie, and that's one of those ones that started. So.
One more question. You just got to get one. No pressure. Just throw your hand up and ask a question.
Do you have your next film planned?
Beyond Where Skeeto Nazi Hunter, of which you can buy credits in the film out there in the lobby.
Where can I buy those credits?
Out in the lobby.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, also DVD copies of these films. And posters.
Posters?
Posters!
I saw buttons.
All right, buttons, and we have the X the Fiend from Beyond Space in stuffed animal form. The next one after this, well, we have ideas, but like I was saying earlier, doesn't mean they're gonna happen. Until I release the next one and start deciding, yes, this is it, who knows? It might be the Luchador film. I just, Mitch is like, we gotta do a Luchador film, so we wanna do a Luchador.
I think my awful pitching for you might have killed my mic. If you do a Luchador film, you may be able to sell it to El Rey Network.
Oh,
Just saying.
all right, I'm in.
All right, guys, huge round of applause for Christopher Mihm
Thank you so much.
and Mitch as well.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for coming. Don't jump from your seat yet. We are going to do our slow-mo run out.
And then come back in and get your.
And then we're going to come back in and buy stuff from Christmas table.
Yeah. I will try not to fall this time. Did anyone else see me fall?
Where's your wounded leg?
Look at this.
Took
Can
a
you see
full-on
that?
roll.
Road rash. I took Mark with me, so I don't feel so bad.